welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I appreciate you all. If you are new to the channel, if this is the first time of you coming across our videos, or you have been watching and you have not subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button and then hit the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So you'll be among the first people that will see the video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a cut together puff sleeve dress. So you can see the picture up there. It is a puff sleeve dress. It is cut together, and then it also has a floating neckline. That's what we are going to be learning how to cut and sew today. So if you want to register for our online classes, you can see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I'll give you the details of the classes that we have presently available. Okay, now so let's just get started. So the fabric that I'm going to be using, this dress is like a two-piece. That's it has the upper bodies. So I already have my fabric laid out here. So what I have here, the length of the dress, that's the half cut. What I have is 19 inches, and then the width. Because when you are doing a cut together sleeve, depends on where you want the sleeve to be. That is what you will use to measure. That's what you will use to measure. So you see my fabric is folded into four like this. This is the center back, that's the middle, the center of the back. So what you measure from the center of your back to this point like this, so the length of the sleeve is going to be 23 inches. That's the longer part, so it's going to be around 22 because I'm going to fold and insert an elastic into it. So this will be the length of the sleeve. So it depends on how long you want it to be. So that is what you will use. So now we're going to start cutting. So I'm just going to place this like this. It is a simple project, like I said. So we already have our length for the half cut, and then I'm going to come to this part now. Since it is so I'm going to cut the back and the front. I'm going to cut both of them together. I'll cut both of them together, but the back is still going to have a zipper. You can decide not to add a zipper. You can decide to add a zipper. Depends on how fitted you want it to be. So I'm going to measure the neckline like this. I'm going to use 3.5 for the width. So this is 3.5. Okay, so now let's start cutting. I already have my fabric here. So it is folded into two. So I have the back one and then the front pieces. So for the back, I'm going to add a zip to the back one. So I'm just going to put my zip allowance here like this. And then the next thing we're going to do now, I'm going to measure the length of my half cut. So I have about 18 inches, which is okay. And then the next thing, this is my center back. So from this point, you measure where you want your sleeve to be. That's the length of the sleeve. So for this, the sleeve, I'm going to be using about 21 inches. About 22, sorry. About 22 inches. So that's that. The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure the length of my sleeve. That's how long I want my sleeve to be. So I've already added my shoulder slope on my fabric. So from this part like this, you are going to determine how long, that's how wide you want your sleeve to be. So for this, I'm going to be using about 9.5 inches. So this is 9.5 inches. That's the length of my sleeve. So from this point, so I'll just mark it like a guide. So and then I'll leave that. The next thing we're going to do now, why I'm doing this, so that when I'm floating the neckline, I'll know how to float it. So that is why I did this. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure the length of, that's the width of my neckline. So for the width of the neckline, I'm going to make use of 3.5 inches. So this is my 3.5 inches. So from this 3.5 inches, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make a notch here like this. I'll just mark a notch. What I'm marking a notch is I need to open it up. So I'll take out the back piece. I'll just keep it on the side, and then I'll open this up. So this is where we're going to work on. So this is our 3.5 inches mark. So now you're going to determine where do you want to float the neckline to. You understand? So you remember that this is the length of my sleeve. So make sure you put that into consideration. So the next thing you are going to do now, this other side is going to be the normal one. That's the one that does not have a cut. So we're going to float the neckline to this part. So it depends on how deep you want the neckline to float into your shoulder part. So that is what you are going to use here. So for this, what I want, since I already have about 9.5 inches for my sleeve, that's the length. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to just like, you can decide to eyeball it. You can eyeball it because you're still going to fold, to put your elastic casing. So put all of that into consideration. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to reduce 5 inches so that it will look like our normal regular off shoulder. So 5 inches is okay. 5 inches is okay. So from this point now, from this point, you are going to float that into that 5 inches. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that everything is captured. So this is our, so you float it into this point like this. So you can float it however you want, depends on what you want. If you want a sharp V, you can use your ruler. So you see how easy it is. Just make sure that not here. You are not floating from this one, you are floating from the second one. So if you float from here, this side is not going to work. So I'm just going to float it like this. So for this part, you can determine how deep you want it to be. So if you see from the picture, it's not really deep. So we're just going to float it into that part. So after floating now, I'm going to cut this out like this. So you can see our dress. So this is what is remaining for this one. And then this one, on this other side, we're going to do our full inches. So, but we're going to continue. We're going to cut out the shape of our dress. So that is why I use this part as a guide. You understand? Use this part as a guide. So for the down part now, you're going to measure your half cut. That's the width of your half cut. You know the top part is a little bit free. So for this part now, you measure your half cut. So for the half cut, I'm going to make use of about 40 inches. What I'm making use of, normally my waist is supposed to be 36. I'm using 40 because I don't want it to be too tight. You can use your actual measurement. So from this point now, I'm just going to do this. So make sure you navigate it properly or else it will not. So I'm going to cut this out right now. So you see what we have. So I hope I will try and open it up. So you see the smaller side, this is the bigger side, and then this one is the smaller side. So this now I'm going to use to cut out the back pieces. So when cutting out the back, you are going to place them facing each other. Make sure that they are facing each other like this, or else you are going to miss it out. And then you cut out everything the same way. So for the back, if you are adding a zipper to it, when you want to do this, make sure you must have finished joining your zipper allowance. You close your zipper allowance back before you place, and then you do this. So with that, it will make it easier for you. So I hope you can see what we have on the table. So it is a very simple dress. So if you are, I'm going to add that to the down of this dress. So I'm just going to fold and use half of my bust span measurement for my that, like this. I'm going to make use of 4 inches. I'll just add my normal regular waist that. So I'll take it back to my machine now. I'll go and stitch it. How am I going to stitch it? Depends on how you normally do your neckline. If you want to line it, you just cut your lining just the same exact way, and then you sew on the neckline part and then on the sleeve, and then you turn. But mine, I'm not going to add a lining to this dress. So I'm just going to go and use bias to finish up the neckline like this. I'll just go and fold it down to this ending part, and then I'll join the sides together, add my dart. So when I finish doing that, I'll bring it back and then show you how we're going to create the elastic casing for the sleeves. Okay, so you can see guys, I've finished stitching, but you see this part is open. So I just joined the regular shoulder. That's this one is the normal side, this is the floating side. So for this is our normal regular neckline of 3.5 inches. So for my neckline, I just used hemming gum to finish it up. So you can see it is looking laying flat and neat. So for this other part now, you're going to determine, depends on how, from where you close, that's where you are going to close, that is what will determine how the off shoulder part, how drop it is going to be. So for this, you can decide to use your shoulder measurement. You understand? You can decide to use your shoulder measurement to do this. So that's, it drops from your, from the off part of your shoulder. So for me, my shoulder is 14 inches. So I can decide to start closing. I can decide to close this from here now to the end. Or if you want it to drop more, you can do 16 inches. Depends, you can add 2 inches, depends on how drop you want it to be. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. So you make sure you join this side first, and then you measure your shoulder measurement and decide if you want it more, where you want yours to be. So mine, I think I'm going to do 16. Let it drop a little bit further from my shoulder. So this is 16 inches. So from this point now, I'm just going to go back and then I'll stitch on this line. So you see my floating neckline. And then after doing that, I'm going to join the side. After joining the side, I'm going to create elastic casing for my sleeve. So what I mean by elastic casing is that after joining, okay, let me use this part. After joining this part, I'm going to fold this part to about 1 inch to create a case for me to pass my elastic through it. So I think I should even create the elastic case before joining the side. It is much easier. So I'm just going to go and stitch this round, and then I'll join this side, and then I'll just leave an opening that I'm going to pass my elastic through. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'll pass the elastic through, and then do the same thing to this side also, and then I'll place it on the mannequin for you to see the final look. Because mine, I'm not joining it down to it. What I'm doing, I'm making like a crop top. So I have a something like a very large band here. I'm going to join it to the down part of my dress. So when you put it on, you can easily tie it. So that's what I just want to like create for this dress. So after joining, then what I will do for mine, for the down part, you can, the original dress, it was a flay that was added to the down, but mine, I don't want to add a flay. I just want to create like a crop top. So I have a band here which I'm going to cut, and then I'll add it to the down part of my dress, of the top, to just to give it an elongation. So it is going to be a crop top. So it depends on what you want. So this is how it's going to stay, and it's going to be beautiful. I'm just going to leave a part of it so you can tie it on the side. So that's what I will just do, and then you see the final look once I'm done right now. Okay, so guys, you can see at the end of the day, you see how I cut together puff sleeve and floating dress came out. It came out fine. So this is the part, this is the full side, and then here is the floating part. So you can see how it is looking. So like I said, depends on the shoulder. The mannequin shoulder is a little bit smaller, so you just use your shoulder, how much floating you want it to be, to join this part. So at the end of the day, this is the other part. It came out, the dress actually came out beautifully well. If you want to add a skirt to it, as to make yours, you can actually do that, but mine, I want it to serve as a top. So you can see it came out fine and it is looking beautiful. So if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button. Thank you so much.